Welcome to Radio 64.
Play.
Welcome to Radio 64, Video Game Music Remix Radio. Radio 64 is part of the Radio Meanwhile network. Please visit radiomeanwhile.com for more about this and other great shows and podcasts. You can listen to Radio 64 on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube. You can also hear Radio 64 on WRAQ 92.7 FM and Angelica Radio every Monday at 6 o'clock. I'm your host, Eric Mickles, also known as duskvstweak. That first track we just listened to was called After Me by MC and SGX, and that was from the game Dance Dance Revolution 4th Mix. That track was originally B4U on DDR. B4U was originally by Naoki. B4U is one of my absolute favorite tracks on Dance Dance Revolution, and it's been a favorite of mine since I was a teenager. It's one I still make sure I always play every time I get on the DDR pad. So Deus Ex is a game that I started and stopped so many times. I played the opening Ellis Island Statue of Liberty mission more times than I can count, and that's usually where I stop every time. So recently I decided to stream it on Twitch to give me the motivation to play from beginning to end. And I have to tell you, 18 years or 19 years later, whenever it was that I played it, Deus Ex holds up. I was shocked. The graphics are a little rough around the edges, but I even found those to be pretty good looking at times. There were some levels that started to throw in a lot more color and a lot more options of where to go, and I just started to eat it up. I don't think I was ever really bored while playing it. One of the standout tracks for me was the track Enemy Within, which is the music that plays when you learn a secret or two. I don't want to spoil a 20-year-old game. There's a riff that comes in during Enemy Within that really hammers home the adrenaline that you should be feeling and the paranoia. And actually, what's going on in this mix that I've picked is called The God Machine by Vig. It's actually remixing Aquatic Ambience from Donkey Kong Country, but then you got the Duclair Chateau, Enemy Within, Lebedev's Airfield, Liberty Island, alright, so there you go again, NY Streets, Return to NYC, Unetco, and VersaLife. So there's a lot going on in here. This song, The God Machine by Vig, was actually on the Deus Ex Sonic Augmentation album by Overclocked Remix. That album, Sonic Augmentation, is the perfect soundtrack for any time you're reading Cyberpunk. I've recently reread Neuromancer by William Gibson, and I had the Sonic Augmentation album by OC Remix on the whole time as I was reading that book, and it fit perfectly. The God Machine by Vig from ocremix.org. that was The God Machine by Vig from ocremix.org. I don't know how it's taken me this many episodes to get a song from Jurassic Park, but here we are. This track comes from Jurassic Park for the Super NES. The track is called Mountain Ranges by Jonathan Dunn. The original Jurassic Park game, it was interesting and frustrating for someone like me who loves Jurassic Park, whose favorite movie of all time is Jurassic Park, who only wanted to play Jurassic Park games. You're looking down with a bird's eye view at Alan Grant. You have a taser and some other weapons as you're walking around the island collecting eggs. I don't know. It's a strange game. I never really got into it. I always found the indoor levels to be really creepy, where you go inside a building and now you're kind of first person, the Super Nintendo trying to do Doom-like graphics as dinosaurs just pop out of nowhere. That got a little bit creepier. The main track that I recognize from the Jurassic Park game, it kind of lands that prehistoric island feel. This one is actually called New Age Gypsy Dance Mix by texx. Brings in a little bit more electronic elements whilst almost doing more of that prehistoric sound. I think it helps create a sense of loneliness, but also, it says dance mix, and there is kind of a groovy beat to it. This is New Age Gypsy Dance Mix by texx from ocremix.org. That was New Age Gypsy Dance Mix by texx from ocremix.org from the Super Nintendo Jurassic Park game. Up next, we're going back to the NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, my first console. We're not going to a game that I hold fondly in my heart. Played a little and was like, you know what? This isn't for me. Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link, the strange, weird sequel to the original Legend of Zelda that came out in 1987. Being remixed here is the overworld background music, the title background music, and the town background music. Originally by Kito Nakatsuka. So this track is by housethegrate. It's a very sparse acoustic mix, and in the notes on the Overclocked Remix site, he talks about how this song is dedicated to the loving memory of his late older brother. A bit of that sorrow, a bit of that reverence is definitely evident in this track. housethegrate is talking about one guitar here is a steel string guitar, one's a nylon, and one is electric. So you have these three guitars playing around each other. This is Heroes Fall by housethegrate from ocremix.org. That was Heroes Fall by House the Great by ocremix.org. Almost makes me think maybe I want to play The Adventures of Link. I don't. I do not want to play The Adventures of Link. Don't even really enjoy watching people play Adventures of Link. Final Fantasy, the first Final Fantasy from 1987. Original soundtrack, of course, by Nobuo Uematsu. This one is the town theme. And this is done by Darangen, whom I really like. He does a lot of electric rock songs. He also includes the vocals and lyrics for, and I'm always a sucker for a really good vocal remix of a video game. And this is called Find Your Way. And what's really interesting, the verses, the bridge and all that, they're the source tune of the town's theme from Final Fantasy 1. But the chorus of this is wholly original. It melds with the town theme from Final Fantasy so well. I really like this track because it does kind of harken back to when I played the first Final Fantasy, just this kind of, almost the purity of the adventure in that game. You know, it's not this big grandiose story like Final Fantasy would get, but there's something very minimalistic and a lot more akin to like a really fun Dungeons and Dragons campaign I find in the first Final Fantasy. So this is Find Your Way by Darangen from ocremix.org.
Just ahead, beyond the horizon, look above the azure blue. Who would think that this world was at its end, and its fate belongs to you? Pressing on, there are those who discourage you. Trials, there's more than just a few. Each new day has a challenge of its own, but the light will see you through. Go left, go right, start another fight, come back and stay another night. You'll find your way. Right now, somehow, take another chance again, turn it right around. We're here to stay. So if ever you're in trouble, come back and fight another day. With the means to overcome what's in front of you, and even what you cannot see, you do well to remember all of those who have saved your memories. Go left, go right, start another fight, come back and stay another night. You'll find your way. Right now, somehow, take another chance again, turn it right around. We're here to stay. So if ever you're in trouble, come back and fight another day. Start another fight, come back and stay another night. You'll find your way. Right now, somehow, take another chance again, turn it right around. We're here to stay. So if ever you're in trouble, come back and fight another day. Beyond the horizon, look above the azure blue. Who would think that this world was at its end, and its fate belongs to you, my friend?
That was Find Your Way by Darangen from ocremix.org. I always want to go back to the first Final Fantasy as well, but there's always new games coming out, and I still haven't played Final Fantasy 15. So you want to talk about formative games for me, specifically on the PC? Look no further than Age of Empires. And the Tango Alpha Bravo song from David Ripley and Stephen Rippey, like, it starts off kind of quiet and peaceful, and then it just starts blowing up, and you realize that you're over in your little pocket of the world, building your empire, building your army in your village, and the rest of the world is not going to wait for you to catch up. So you better hurry up and get ready, because there are conquerors out there, and unless you want to be the conquered, you better get moving. That's Tango Alpha Bravo from Age of Empires to me. So this is Realms of Africa by Protricity from ocremix.org. That was Realms of Africa by Protricity from ocremix.org. The only Age of Empires remix on that site. If we could get more Age of Empire remixes, more StarCraft remixes, I'd be a happy guy. The real-time strategy genre is really where I cut my teeth as a kid. If you saw Terminator: The Dark Fate over the weekend, here we go, some Terminator music. This is from Terminator 2 Judgment Day for the original NES, which came out in '92. This is from the track Level 1 and Truck Stop by Jeff Fallon and Tim Fallon. Most of this song is pretty good. Most of this track is fine. This is by Kevin, Lorenzo, Sisk. It has, kind of a cool limited techno sound. It's the use of the Terminator theme that I love so much. It just hits the right nostalgic buttons for me. So this is CSM 101, Level 1 by Kevin, Lorenzo, Sisk from ocremix.org. That was CSM 101, Level 1 by Kevin Lorenzo Sisk from ocremix.org from the game Terminator 2 Judgment Day. I went and saw Terminator 2 in theaters again with a friend. Great time. Still love the movie. Absolutely fantastic. We played a few Pokemon tracks before, but part of the Pokemon series I've never played is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. So this is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Red Rescue Team. So even though I haven't played it, I still got that, still leaning towards the red games. This is from the track World Calamity by Arata Yoshi and Shirio Ishizuna. TGH has this kind of chippy, techno-y sound that every time he does a track, and a lot of the tracks he does are from the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon games. They just click with me so much. This is called The Sky Will Be Your Limit. It comes in with a heavier beat, but then that electronic synth sound comes in. It's one of those I can just kind of like lean back and really get into and just savor the whole time. His tracks are a lot of fun to drive to as well. The Sky Will Be Your Limit by TJH from ocremix.org. Hey, that was The Sky Will Be Your Limit by TJH from ocremix.org. I actually had to look up Marble Madness on YouTube to see what the game even was. It looks like a game I might have really enjoyed as a kid back on the NES. Marble Madness came out in 1988. This is from Beginner Race, which is the level 2 track from Marble Madness by Brad Fuller, David Wise, and Hal Cannon. And this is called Marble Dancefloor by Palpable. A bit of a funky Daft Punk kind of take on the original track, which you can dance to this song, which I really like. I like when a track is called a dance floor or dance mix or any kind of dance thing, and then you listen to it, you're like, yeah, I could actually dance to this. So this is Marble Dancefloor by Palpable from ocremix.org. Marble Dancefloor by Palpable from ocremix.org. Funky. I love the Megas. If you love Mega Man 2, if you like Mega Man 3, if you like Mega Man in general, you need to check out the Megas because they do full concept albums of the Mega Man songs. This is, the original track again is Airman Stage from Mega Man 2 by Manami Matsume and Tatishi. My apologies for the mispronunciation there. Singing about Airman and about how he's been built to only push others away, and now he's become the monster that you've always thought he was. So this is the Annihilation of Monsteropolis by the Megas from the album Get Equipped and found at ocremix.org.
Sitting on my throne up in the sky, you better watch out, guy. Anyone who comes this way will die. No one in this world can understand who I am. That is why I'll fight on these days. Do you know what it's like to be built this way? With only the power to push others away. Insects crawling low, they do not know. My anger grows. I'll return it for everything that there are. Lives on this earth I grow tired of. Death from above. The annihilation of everyone you know and love. Do you know what it's like to be built this way? With only the power to push others away.
Up in the sky, 10 miles high, a man stands above the city he will destroy. Built from airplane parts, his propeller spins as he thinks to himself, I will destroy these people.
I will fly high above Monsteropolis.
For if I can't walk among them,
I'll rain terror down on the general populace.
then I will walk the world alone.
Fly high above Monsteropolis.
There'll be a fire in the sky,
I'll rain terror
and
down.
your doom will be now.
I will fly high above Monsteropolis.
Built from pieces of SR-71
Terror down on the general populace.
and planes that crashed in World War II.
High above Monsteropolis.
There'll be a tombstone with the planet Earth engraved on it.
You know what it's like to be built this way. With only the power to push others away. You've a heavy road to bear. Do you think you can carry it? I'll usher in the end upon my thunder chariot.
The Annihilation of Monsteropolis by the Megas from ocremix.org and also from the album Get Equipped by the Megas. Thank you for listening to Radio 64. Whether you're listening to Radio 64 live at WRAQ 92.7 FM on Angelica Radio or if you're listening to Radio 64 on SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube. This is, again, a show that is part of the Radio Meanwhile network. Go to radiomeanwhile.com to find more about this show and others like it and other great podcasts. I've been your host, Eric Mickles, also known as Dust vs. Tweak. You can find me anywhere online under Dust vs. Tweak, specifically Twitter and Twitch. If you have any requests, any games, any remixes you want to hear on the show, please let me know. Thank you for listening.